sisters, I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this wonderful day. It is a beautiful day today that I've seen. We have a lot of visitors who visited our ward today, and there are those also who visited the temple today. And we have so many visitors from different nationalities within East and Central Africa. And this one reminds me of the book of Isaiah, when the prophet Isaiah prophesied, and he said at that time, in the last days, the Lord God shall build, the mountain of the Lord will be raised. It will attract people from different nations to come, and, they will be saying, come, let us go into the house of the Lord. And this is what I am seeing actually happening. People are really going to the temple. And it's truly a fulfillment of the prophecies of Isaiah. Now, my wonderful friends, I have been actually going through certain readings, and I came across one of the readings of, I think they were members of the church before, and they decided to leave simply because they were offended, and the things they were speaking were not actually proper. Some of them speak of being defrauded by the church. Others speak about, the prophet not actually speaking the truth. That is in relative to referring to the prophet Joseph Smith. And I was kind of like wondering, why will people, who were once members of the church, and I believe at one time they bore their testimonies, but now they are actually speaking things which are different from what the church is all about. And I remember the talk that Elder David A. Bednar gave, and he said that most of these people who leave the church, when you do your due diligence, you will end up realizing that in one way or the other, they were actually offended. And when they pick offense, they cut themselves from the activities of the priesthood. In other words, cutting themselves even from the blessings of the priesthood, which is so sad. And as I was thinking about this, the Spirit led me to watch one of the videos. And after watching this video, I kind of asked myself, how can the church defraud people when these are some of the projects that the church is actually run? They are projects that even governments go there for capacity building to see exactly what is happening. And kind of like I thought to myself, why would people say this? And at times I ended up realizing that we need to be very careful with what we speak, because every word that we speak at one time will give an account for everything that we spoke in the last days. And this is what really, really moved me. And this was so awesome to note that this is what the church is doing. And without further ado, let me just invite you so that we can watch what exactly it's happening here.
Sanctuary of wildlife so varied, any place else might be challenged to show this much natural diversity in a single glance. And it doesn't stop here.
We operate in a natural system. Because we're in a natural system, Mother Nature kind of requires you to operate in a way that's sustainable.
Keep your eyes open during this flyover. The land is about to change. And change again. Wow. And again. All of this you see, from the cranes and the cattle to the gators and the greenery, all of it resides within the boundaries of a working ranch and agricultural property that coexists with an expansive conservation operation that requires hands-on attention to detail and experts in the field to manage these precious resources in a delicate dance with nature and the ever-driving demands of a working ranch and agricultural concern. Have you figured out where we are? If you guessed Florida, you're right. Central Florida, to be more precise,
Florida.
Owned and operated as an investment farm by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Deseret Cattle and Citrus is located south of Orlando and west of Cape Canaveral.
And liftoff.
More commonly known as the Space Coast. Here, In the shadow of the occasional rocket launch, farmers, cattlemen, and caretakers of what comes naturally have a diverse body of work cut out for themselves.
This is not something that was just a one-time deal for us. We greatly care for our systems that we have on place. We talk a lot about our cattle operations and our wildlife and our treatment of our water as a whole. It's all an integrated system.
Deseret Cattle and Citrus was acquired by the church and developed in the 1950s. David O. McKay was the president of the church at the time, and he believed the church would be wise to develop an enterprise that would be both a good investment and an additional resource to feed people during times of need. The church set out to find the right location in North America, settling on this available land in East Central Florida some 65 years ago.
We open every management team meeting with an opening prayer. One thing that's common in the prayer is a thank for the land, an opportunity we have to be stewards of it, and for the natural resources that we're blessed with.
Part wildlife habitat, part water reserve, part citrus farm, and part cattle ranch. At nearly 300,000 acres, rotating herds is one practice implemented to preserve the future of the ranch. A simple drive along this quiet country road on Florida's Highway 192 is just the smallest part of what has become one of the largest working cattle ranches in the country.
We run about 45,000 cows, and so it is a big, complex ranch. Agriculture is advancing over the last 30 years. We've made significant production increases. And so we've been able to work with a lot of universities on research experiments, on finding ways to be better in production and how we can be better.
Between farming row crops, harvesting oranges from one of the most robust regions of output in the world, grazing lands for herds of cows, producing food that heads for the table from this land requires a lot of space and attention, and with an eye on long-term sustainability. On the ranch, that means taking care of the neighbors that call the ranch home too. More than 350 species of wildlife, including almost 250 species of birds. The ranch runs alongside the St. Johns River for 40 miles. That's just one of the reasons why the ranch created Jug Island, the wetland preserve where stormwater runoff is made cleaner through natural plant filters, while giving birds and animals, many that are endangered elsewhere, a place to nest and flourish, including one of Florida's largest rookeries, where the treasured wood stork is making a stunning comeback from its once endangered status.
Because of the stable production that we have on this rookery here, we're able to help in growing that population and eventually getting them to where they can survive on their own.
I'm a natural resource manager, but I'm a biologist by trade. And the system, the actual act of creating what we did here, there was one benefit in mind, but what the actual true benefits that we got out of it were just exponential. Some of the wintering grounds for the migratory waterfowl that we have here, and this is a destination for them.
But it's not just the wildlife that are looking for a home to nest.
I started as a cowboy here and turned into a cattle foreman and then worked with heavy equipment, and now I'm working with wildlife, security, and forestry.
We put our life in it, and I mean, we treat it like it's ours.
Ranch stewards understand their responsibility to look to the future. Florida's growth as an American state is unique and historically fast-paced. That's why there's a new direction in civic planning emerging in Central Florida in favor of more thoughtful growth patterns, and Deseret Ranch is helping to partner in that effort.
The governor of the state of Florida issued an executive order asking for the ranch to plan jointly with Osceola County a sector plan on the ranch itself. And as part of that, he also asked for a task force to look at what corridors should be protected across East Central Florida to allow growth to happen and be accommodated. What that task force recommended, in fact, was that the ranch preserve corridors to make those kinds of connections that we've been able to include in our planning. It's unique in the history of Florida, I believe, for the county and an applicant to jointly work through a sector plan and be co-applicants, if you will, in the application that's going before the county.
This sector plan takes a generational approach to large-scale, long-range planning when it comes to land use, transportation, and water resources.
This is a 2,000-acre reservoir, really central to the ranch. There are a few things that are really remarkable about this reservoir. First, going back to the history of it, this was a state and federal project, and the ranch, Deseret Ranch, actually donated the easements. The ranch, throughout its history, has contributed to really some of these regional water supply projects.
Managers and cowboys know Deseret Cattle and Citrus has a bright future as a working ranch. Their livelihoods depend on the ongoing health of these natural systems.
Generally, when people come out here, they're awed by the beauty of the ranch, by the wildlife that they see, by the vast landscapes. So they're surprised that we're in the cattle business in Florida. So as we've formulated plans for the ranch, we've tried to stay focused on their environmental stewardship.
We're going to take care of the environment, we're going to take care of people, and we're going to do as good a job as we can in cattle production, how we handle, how we treat. And so for us, that is the definition of sustainability.
Really, this is amazing, very, very much amazing, and I wish our African governments will actually go here for capacity building. You know, I think they need to. I think they need to. And if you look at the church that is doing something like this, and all this is purely professional, you know, and something that caught me. Somebody tell me, what are actually apart from just harvesting citrus fruits, are citrus also playing a role in the ecosystem of the environment, or what are some of the importance of citrus? Because I see there it is purely citrus, cows, and water, and some water, you know, wherever. Apart from just harvesting citrus, is it also playing a role in the environment, or in that, you know, ecosystem? Please, somebody just let me know. Let me just educate me there for me to be able to understand. I think this is so wonderful and this is so great, and I know if we follow what Heavenly Father requires of us, and especially what He has revealed through His prophets, I know we will be actually safe in these confusing and problematic societies that we live in. Otherwise, thank you very much. God bless you. Looking forward to see you again next time.